person who moves mountains begins by carrying away small stones. Confucius. We often paralyze ourselves by trying to take on too much without first building the habit of what it is we'd like to begin. Our most ambitious dreams seem to be so overwhelming and difficult that we never even take the first step. I believe we link so much pain to how much work it'll take that we never even start, even if the regret of not tackling this dream will cause more pain in the future. As Ryan Holiday explains in his book Ego is the Enemy, we should think big, but we must act and live small, putting one foot in front of the other, learning and growing as we go along. Most successful companies didn't start out thinking they were going to build the next billion-dollar company. Even YouTube's founders weren't planning on building something to reinvent TV. They were simply trying to find a way to share funny videos with their friends. Well, I guess you could say the rest is history, as YouTube now gets more views than TV. I believe we look at these great figures who accomplished so much and think it was just the result of natural talent that happened overnight. But in reality, they face the same obstacles, resistance, challenges, and self-doubt we are facing right now. What got them to where they are now was stacking small actions on top of each other one day at a time, letting their success begin to build on past success. I mean, how many times have you personally set out and promised yourself you'd start working out every day, or cut out all the junk food from your diet, or start reading a book a week, or millions of other skills and habits we'd all like to build into our lives, but already finding ourselves 1 to 2 weeks later giving up on these grand goals that could actually change the quality of our life? Why is this? Is it because we're lazy, or we don't have what it takes to improve our life? Of course not. The answer is actually quite simple. We all try to take on too much without first rewiring our brains to get in the habit of taking that small, tiny action we need to consistently take to get the outcome we want. We are led to believe that just because some jack guy who works out 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, means we can automatically jump into the same routine and have no problem sticking with it. But in reality, that same guy most likely started working out a fourth of that time. And over time, he was able to build his way up, taking on more and more, but not first without beginning to build the smallest habit of just getting into the routine of going to the gym. As Paul Graham said, the way to do really big things seems to be to start with deceptively small things. I once read a story about a man who lost over 100 pounds from working out at the gym. Now you might think he must have dove right into doing hours of cardio every day and following some crazy diet, but what he actually did was the exact opposite. For the first 30 days, he would simply just go to the gym, walk around, touch the machines and wait, but not actually work out. Then he'd leave the gym and do the same thing the next day. Imagine the habit this man was building just by doing this simple act. Over time, once his brain began to rewire and link pleasure to going to the gym, he started to lift some weights and gradually kept adding on to his workout routine until going to the gym and exercising became a necessity rather than a chore. And for those of you who work out, you can agree that most days the hardest part is just getting yourself to go to the gym. But once you're there, it's often enjoyable. But do you think this same guy would have lost that weight if he jumped into a grueling 2-hour exercise routine? Probably not. I'm sure he tried this many times and realized it wasn't sustainable, falling back into his old patterns and habits. Ask yourself, what skills or habits have you tried or have been wanting to add into your life but never seem to be able to stick with them long enough to see results? It doesn't have to be exercising. It can be a business you'd like to start, a book you want to write, a language you want to learn. But whatever it is, start small and begin to build the habit, and the momentum will carry you to places you never believed were possible. What is it you've been dreaming of achieving or learning? Think of how you can begin to start taking action towards the goal in the smallest steps possible. Want to write a book? Start with writing 1 paragraph a day. Want to learn Spanish? Learn how to pronounce the vowels in Spanish. Want to lose 50 pounds? Start by going on a 5 to 10 minute walk every day. Whatever it is, you can have, but you'll never get it if you don't take the first step. Starting small will build momentum and lead to visible progress. And once you begin to set this small action into motion and want to build a habit out of it, find a simple way you can reward yourself after accomplishing that tiny action. Soon the habit will form and you can use this momentum to begin building onto it and making it stronger. This is when even thinking about exercising just 10 minutes a day seems daunting, to soon finding yourself a few months later easily knocking out 90-minute workouts. As Gary Keller writes in his book, The One Thing, when you see someone who has a lot of knowledge, they learned it over time. When you see someone who has a lot of skills, they developed them over time. When you see someone who has done a lot, they accomplished it over time. And when you see someone who has a lot of money, they earned it over time. The key is over time. Success is built sequentially. It's one small thing at a time. We all must drop our ego of thinking we're too good to start small and live by this Mark Twain quote. The secret of getting ahead is getting started. The secret of getting started is breaking your complex, overwhelming tasks into small, manageable tasks and then starting on the first one. Start small, my friend. Start small.